Yeah. Josh does fantasy. You know what it is. Sunday coming quick, set your line up right. Josh got the plays, got the insight tonight. From the draft to the trades, he's ahead of the call. Breaking down the game, yeah, he's schooling us all. Josh does fantasy, football, that's the vibe. Grab your notes, tune in, it's a winning ride. Stats and laughs every week on tap. Josh got the heat, let's run it back. Josh does fantasy. Yeah, Josh does fantasy football.
Welcome into today's episode of Josh Does Fantasy Football. Looking at a recap here for the Dynasty and Redraft Leagues. Thanks for tuning in this season. Hopefully you all found it fun. The regular season is now over, so we're going to move into playoffs. So, sorry, my voice gave out there a little bit. That time of year. But, yeah, moving into the playoffs. And, to the teams that made it, good luck. To the teams that didn't, hopefully next year's a better year for you. But yeah, going to get into the last part of the season here. It's winding down, kind of sad. But you know what? It's something to look forward to next year. Looking forward to doing it all back with everyone here. So, follow the same format. It's maybe a little bit of a longer episode today because I am going to do predictions since we're getting to the playoffs. I know I haven't done those last couple weeks just to save a little time, but I will do predictions this week since we're going into playoffs. So we'll look at the Dynasty League here, and we'll look at any kind of activity we've had this week. See if there's anything to talk about here. All right, let's see here. So it was like, and again, this is Dynasty, but it was like Seegers did pick Devon Vele up. So, it's he's getting good snap percentages, so not a bad pickup. Decent targets last 3 weeks, so hasn't produced too much. Oh, he produced last week against Miami, but hasn't produced too much all this year. But he is. Wow, I didn't know he's that old. So he's 1 year in. He's age 27, so he's almost aged out already. But you know what? Not a bad thing there. Hopefully he'll do some work for you there. One thing I want to do actually a little different. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to look at the playoffs here because I think looking at the playoffs first will be important to see when people are picking up things, if that's something for next year or if that's something for this year. So let's see here. So Seegers is not in the playoffs, so that's kind of a next year move. So I guess he's hoping that Vele does good next year for him, which is out of the question there, as the Saints have a lot of question marks going forward. So, but in the playoffs here, I list this out. So we got myself and Jody taking the top seeds. Both of us get a bye, so easy week this week, and then next week we start fighting for our lives. And then we got Rance and Pirtle this week, and then also Kelly and Bryce. So lots of heavy hitters this year. To be honest, I did not think Pirtle would make it to the playoffs. He was last year. I think that has to do a lot with Christian McCaffrey being out. So it's amazing what having Christian McCaffrey does for you. But yeah. So these are the teams that made it into the playoffs. So again, the Deuce Vele pick isn't going to do much. Drew's picked up Jordan Mason, which for $0 isn't a bad thing. He might be the RB1 next year in Minnesota. So that's actually a decent pickup. If I would have saw Jordan Mason out there, I probably would have picked him up. But you know what? I didn't. So that's okay. I did pick up Fairbarn last week because Andy, let's call him Andy B. Don't know how to say his last name, but he was out. Um, he's a decent kicker. If anyone's looking for a kicker, I mean, it's not a bad person to pick up there. I'm not going to hold two kickers, and I think Fairbarn is doing decent as well. So, he plays Arizona this week. Should be a high score game for him. Yeah. So, and then like Drew also picked up Britton Strange, the tight end. He's not done much this year. Missed a lot of games. When he plays though, he usually does okay for a tight end. So that'll be something for next year to look at. Alrighty, anything else to look at? Interesting. Bryce dropped Trey Tucker, which is kind of, I guess he's listed as wide receiver 3, but he's really kind of like the wide receiver 1, I think. There, I don't know why he wouldn't be in Las Vegas. So he did drop him. So he's had one really good game, and then the rest bad games mostly. So I don't blame him for dropping Trey Tucker there. And then Kelly picked up a kicker there, which I guess he needs a kicker for this week. So, all right. Well, that's all the activity there. We can look at our matchups we've had this week. I'll go back this way. So I'll always start with myself and whoever I face. It's just the way that it's laid out here. So, give me a drink real quick of some Sunny D. Today's episode is brought to you by Sunny D. All right, so looking at our matchup, I think I had the highest score this week. Everybody, yeah, I had the highest score. So I'm sorry, Drew. Even if you did better, it wouldn't have made a difference. But you did have a good score. So I won 161 to 120. You would have beat out 1, 2, 3, 4 other teams. So you're right in the middle. So an average the week for you there. But yeah, I had a pretty decent week, 161 points to your 120. So I won by 41 points, even though I had some players try to hold me down. But it's okay. It's okay. Pickens, I tell you what, that was sneaky, Drew. You traded me Pickens, and the week that I play you against him, he does not do good. Yeah, you trying to get me there. That's okay. But yeah, my team carried pretty much by Josh Allen. Barkley did great this week. Gibbs, Bowers was in the green. It looks like Nico was in the green as well. And then the Seahawks defense. I don't know what to do with DJ Moore going forward. He's just so hit or miss. Let's see here. He's due for a good game, so hopefully he'll hold off until I need him there. I don't think I can play him the rest of the year, though. He's just so hit or miss, and these next few games are so important. So we'll see what he does this week on my bye week. So luckily I get a week to kind of test that. And then Ibuka is really just falling off. He had 9 targets. I know he's still good, but I don't know what's going on there. Sorry. Man, my throat is killing me. Cold weather. All right. So, and then Drew, Michael Wilson is crazy good right now. It kind of scares me for having Marvin Harrison Jr. on my team. So, I'm going to mute my mic right quick. All right. That will tickle my throat. It's probably going to come back, so I'll just keep muting my mic if I need to. But, Michael Wilson, hopefully when Marvin Harrison comes back, he steps into that role. But Michael Wilson's made a case to be the WR1 on that team, and that's kind of scary for me. So Michael Wilson's still pretty young. He's only 25. 2 years in the league there. So, I mean, he's done really good. The last 4 weeks, he's done really good. I would say he's probably one of the top wide receivers the last 4 weeks. Maybe the top wide receiver. I don't know. He's pretty up there, though. So, you play Britton Strange this week and tight end. So, no. Kenneth Gainwell it was in the green for you. Alec Pierce. And then Jacoby Myers. So, Anything on the bench to talk about? You did pick up Jordan Mason, and that was a good pickup. I think that's a sneaky pickup there. Jordan Reed came back for me, did okay. He was in the green technically. Likely did okay as well for me on the bench. So lots of buys this week though. Yeah, we both had some buys there, didn't we? All right, let's look at Kelly and Seager's matchup. So Kelly defeated Seager's 124 to 112, ending Seager's season here, his first season with us. So sorry, buddy. It just wasn't your team's year. You had some ups and you had some downs. You have a good team overall. I think you do have a decent team. Just injuries and poor performances at the wrong time kind of got you. But this is Dynasty, so start thinking about the future, what you're looking to accomplish. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to bounce ideas off of you, or you bounce ideas off of me. Yeah, but Kelly, yeah, you won. And by the way, that goes for anybody that has questions about their team or ideas. I'm happy to help. Just because I have fun with that. So if you're looking to put together trades that will help you and help the other team, I can help with that if you like. But yeah, Kelly's carried here on his team. Lamar Jackson actually was in the green. AJ Brown was in the green. He had 100 yards again. I think it's his fourth straight game having 100 yards, so that's pretty good. No touchdowns, but he didn't need them. Kelly, I'm going to say you can drop Zach Ertz. I don't think he's going to play football again, unfortunately. That was a pretty nasty hit, so I don't think he's going to play again. Dave Montgomery was in the green for you. Your kicker and defense are both in the green as well. So, Kelly going into the playoffs has a good team. Good team. You're going to need a tight end. I don't know who you can pick up for tight end, but you're going to need a good team there. Yeah. And then Seegers on your side. ETN did great. You need to think about, are you wanting to build around ETN? Do you want to keep him? Or are you going to trade him for some younger talent? So, yeah, that's what you got to think about there. And then Sutton, so hit or miss this year. He's getting a bit older. He's age 30. Wide receiver 19. So I mean, he's one that you maybe shop around to the contenders, see if you can get like a first for him. I would certainly do that. I would trade a first, or trade away Sutton for a first. So that's something that you can look at. Probably one of the 4 teams playing this week is the best people to talk to about that. But that could be, a way that you get some value out of your pick, or out of their Sutton, you get an extra pick. So, I would keep CeeDee Lamb. I would build around him. So, yeah. Kincaid actually came through for you this week. Him and Dawson Knox did good this week. I watched that game. Dawson Knox ended up with 14 points. Kincaid 12 points. I mean, they split. Just imagine if they only used one tight end. That would be good for them. They would have 26 points. Yeah, together. And then DK Metcalf did good for you as well. And that's another person you probably could shop around. DK's starting to get old. I don't know if you want to build around him, but I bet you can get a first and maybe something else out of him. But he still has a lot of name value from being with the Seahawks. But yeah, that's someone I would trade away as well. So you're just trying to get a first. You could end up with 3 firsts and maybe some other talent there, some other pieces. So if you're wanting to rebuild a little bit. Alrighty. And then, I guess that's all I'll really talk about. Kelly's side, you do have Devin Neal, which is playing good. He's playing a lot better than I thought he was going to play. But he played decent this week. We'll see if he keeps that up. Yeah, with Kamara being out, I don't know if that says anything about him. It's a possible return. So as long as Kamara's out, Neal's maybe a person you can play. And then Sean Tucker delivered a touchdown. He had 7 carries, which isn't terrible. Let's see, he was on the field. Oh, he's only 16% of snaps. That's not as good. So, but he did get a touchdown, so it means he altered it from somebody. But yeah. All right, let's look at the next one here. Pirtle and Isaac. Pirtle actually lost this week to Isaac. It was a low-scoring game. Isaac won 98-74. Let's take a look and see what happened with Pirtle's team being a bit low-scoring. Patrick Mahomes only 5.8 points against Houston, which is probably the top defense at this point, so that's understandable. I will say Pirtle, if you play like that in the playoffs, they're probably not gonna make it too far. So, but you have a stellar team. Is Christian McCaffrey on bye this week? McCaffrey's on bye. You know, you live and die by McCaffrey and Pirtle. So, if McCaffrey's in, you're good. And if he's not in, you're bad. So it seems like, at least. So hopefully McCaffrey's in for you for the playoffs and gives you a good fighting chance. Yeah, just overall, your team's not performed. Chase Brown did great. About time he did something, right? No, he's had a good year. He's had a really good year, actually. He's RB15, but he's had a good, consistent year. I guess he's not had any terrible games. Well, week 3 against Minnesota, he had 3 points. I think that was the week that Burrow went down on it, though. So they probably didn't know what to do. But other than that, he's not really had terrible games. Been pretty consistent. A decent game on week 8 against the Jets, 24 points. So, yeah, so that's good for you there. Genty, I tell you what, Genty this year, he's RB14 somehow. I think he only gets better. He's still getting the usage. I think still having him on your team is going to be a good thing long term. So I think he's a good player to have. And you got, let's see here, Adams, which has been good this year. Allen, you got lots of old talent here. You really got to start thinking about, if you don't make the playoffs, if you drop out, what you're going to do with some of these older players. I guess you can keep them. I don't know if you're going to want to do that or not. But yeah, overall, your team just didn't perform their Pirtle. And looking at Isaac's team, you know, Addison was in the green for him. And his kicker, Aubrey, which Aubrey is, you know, he's one of the better fantasy assets you can have typically. So he's done really good this year with scored. He's kicker 2. I don't know who the first kicker is. Kicker 1. I have to look that up later maybe. I don't know who's the first kicker right now. But Aubrey is great for you there, Isaac. You know, good luck next year as your team hopefully gets to the playoffs next year. And you have a decent team still. Cook and Jacobs, I think, will be good. Olave, if they can get a quarterback there, will be decent. You know, Olave's a wide receiver 10, actually. He's a quiet wide receiver 10, but he's been consistent this year. So, I mean, he's not a bad piece to have. This week he only had 4 points or 4.5 points, but most weeks he's been pretty much double digits almost every week. So good to have him on your team. Addison's also great. I think once they get a quarterback there, that'll be good for you next year. McLaurin is decent. He's 30 though, so he may be one that you would trade off to a contending team. You know, he doesn't have a lot of value right now because he only scored 5.6 points last week. But, yeah, gosh, I don't know what happened to the Commanders. I was looking at their score. They're 31-0. I didn't realize that they had got blown out like that. So, I didn't watch that game, so I don't know what happened. Did Daniels get hurt? Daniels get hurt, yeah. Did he play any? He played 75% of the snaps, it says. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Played 75% snaps, only 2.72 points. I mean, so you can't blame the other people's production like McLaurin's off in that. McLaurin only played 62% snaps. So. But yeah, that's someone you may want to trade for contending. Same way with Devonta Smith. You might be able to get a piece out of him, trading him away. He's very hit or miss. Kind of like Saquon. I'm going to go back and look at the points for this year. See, 133. I'm going to do it right now, actually. 133 to Saquon's 169. So it's not really much difference. Saquon is, I guess, the 12th ranked running back in our league. So, yeah. Yep. I traded you Garrett Wilson as well, which he's hurt. So, overall, though, you got a decent team there, Isaac. So, just keep up what you're doing there, and hopefully you make it to the playoffs next year. And good luck to you, Pirtle, going forward. Next is going to be Bryce and Brent. Brent, you did the perfect season. I know Jody was kind of talking about that in the group chat. Perfect season. No wins. Sorry, all losses, no wins. So, I know you're looking to make some moves. Hopefully, the moves here will help you. Get younger talent. Start thinking about getting some receivers, I think, is the way I always say. Get receivers first. So, get some stud receivers any way you can. Build around them. Receivers, quarterback. Tight end doesn't matter too much, but if you happen to find a good tight end, I don't know who you have for tight end. You got Waller, so it's not really someone you want there. He's too old. Njoku maybe, but Fannon's there, so Kraft. There you go. So you have a good tight end. He just got hurt. Yeah, so if you can find a couple good receivers, trade whatever pretty much you need to get them, but you need some good young receivers. You don't really have any of those. You have decent receivers. No one on my team though, except for maybe Pittman. Not now actually, because Daniel Jones went down. I don't even know what they're gonna do for quarterback right now, but they'll figure it out. But yeah, Pittman, that puts a big question mark on him. I don't think you can play him. You don't have to because you're not playing the playoffs. But yeah, just start thinking about next year, what you want to make changes for. Again, if you need help or have questions, let me know, and I can give you my thoughts and recommendations. And then, Bryce, you won 145.93. I don't know if I said that, but, ironically, it looks like Brent had a few decent performances as a team. Tony Pollard did really good. Cup was in the green, and Pittman was in the green. So you had some decent performances, just no one else really performed anywhere near where they're supposed to. So you had a lower score. Bryce, you had 145 points with Daniel Jones basically getting you a goose because he got hurt. So if he would have played normal, I bet you would have had 160. You might have beat my score, actually, 161. We've been pretty close. So, but yeah, this week you're going into the playoffs, so good luck for you. Lots of green for you this week, though. Bucky was back for you. It's good. Woody Marks is back. So it looks like maybe me trading you my first for him wasn't the best idea. Or you trading your first. Me trading away to you for your first may not have been the best thing, because now he's starting to really take off. So I traded him week 5 to you. Right after Tennessee, I think. So you get Arizona this week. I think he's going to be great for you this week. Hopefully he helps you. And then, J-Sid's been, I think he's the number 1 receiver. Yeah, you got him for me too. I'm just giving you all the good players, I guess. Now, to be fair, though, I did get Josh Allen out of that deal. So like, Jason's got 242 points. Josh Allen has, I can click the name, 242 to 320. So, and that's quarterback to wide receiver. So, Josh Allen's the number 1 overall. So, I mean, Not not a bad trade though. I think basically that's what the trade ended up being was JSN for Josh Allen. With when it's all said and done, I'd have to go back and look what the picks turned into, but yeah, JSN's number 12 overall for the rankings. So, but yeah, you got him, Woody Marks, which is doing good. You picked up Pitts off of the waivers, if I remember right. Yeah, and he put up some okay points the last couple weeks, so we'll see if that continues. It's like he's limited in practice today, so maybe he'll play for you. Puka did great for you. And then, Brian Thomas Jr. did okay. He's in the green. And then you got Cameron Dicker, your kicker, did good. Hampton on the bench did good for you. I think you probably play him going forward. And you got Fan in there, which did amazing on the bench. Luckily, you didn't need him, but he did good for you. We'll see if that continues. Maybe Shadir Sanders is a legit quarterback. I'm not sure. We don't know after one game, especially against the Titans. If he can string together the rest of this season, and then maybe people will think he's decent. We'll see. It's just weird that he was not given the opportunity until everyone pretty much got hurt on his team. So, yeah, so nothing else to really talk about there. And then our last matchup would be Rance and Jody. And Rance beat Jody 150 to 122. Jody does get the bye this week, but he's got to be nervous going into the playoffs. He basically doesn't have Justin Jefferson. I don't know if you can play him, but you may not be not able to play him either. So, you have a good team, though. Don't get me wrong. You have a great team. You just got a lot of negative things going towards you right now with, Justin Jefferson not being able to get the ball thrown to him properly. Jonathan Taylor losing his quarterback. Jamar Chase has really just not been great this year. Tyler Warren losing his quarterback. Kyron did good, but Blake Corum actually did better this last week. So, probably splitting some carries there. T. Higgins, he may be out with a concussion. He took a pretty nasty hit. I watched that game. So he didn't really take a hit. He fell to the ground and hit the back of his head pretty hard. So he may not. Typically, if you're in a concussion protocol, you miss the next game. Now, lucky for you, the next game is a bye. So maybe you can get away with waiting that one out. But yeah, you a decent team there. And then in the Rams, you have a good team too. You're in the playoffs as well for a reason. Looking at, performances for you this week, Jordan Love was in the green. Jalen Warren, Jalen Waddle. So you got the Jalen's. Are they spelled the same? Jalen. Yeah, they're spelled the same. Okay. Christian Watson had a good week for you. That's the thing about the Green Bay receivers. You never know who's going to have the good week. Christian Watson was the OG there. He was the one, 3 years ago that really started that wide receiver room. So, he definitely could push you through the playoffs there, maybe help you out a bunch. Trey O'Brien didn't get it done this week. He had the targets, decent receptions for a tight end, just to get the touchdown. So, Goddard did okay. Jacoby Myers did okay. Badal did okay. But I think he's gonna see a lot more work this coming week. Hampton's first game back, I probably used him in a little bit. So, but they managed to do the 1-2 punch, which looked okay. And then Jake Bates was in the green, and your Denver defense there. Defense 6, so not terrible. They play Green Bay. I don't know if you can play them against Green Bay. You might just do it because Denver defense. But then you get Jacksonville and then Kansas City. Kansas City's not been playing good offensively, so that if you make it to the playoffs, Broncos may be a decent, defense to have. Looking at the bench for you, Rance, not really much to talk about. I do want to talk about Jody's bench, though. Because he's got some quarterbacks. Sam Darnold did okay. Joe Burrow's kind of back in action. He did 4 touchdowns this week. You also got Matthew Stafford on up there. So I mean, you got some quarterback depth. But really, what I want to point out here, and hopefully Seekers are listening. R.J. Harvey, 19 points this week. 19 points last week. And let's see, what's how many points J.K. Dobbins got? Oh, he got 0. He's on the IR. All right. Well, that makes sense. So, I know I brought this up last week. I don't understand that trade there. I don't see how it helped your team there, Seegers. Maybe I'm missing something. So if you happen to listen to this and you want to text or call me how it helps your team, I'd be all ears on that one. Hindsight's always 20/20 though. You don't know things that are going to happen in the future, but there are some guidances you can use, especially in a dynasty league. But Jody got a good RB, I think, going forward. Harvey is the RB actually I was going to target in the draft, but he was picked. So I ended up with Ibuka, which Ibuka did good for me for the first half of the year, and then the second half he's not doing good. So I think it's I think they're both good players. So that's what it is. But yeah, so you got Harvey on your bench, which you can plug and play in any of your spots really. So if you need to fill a hole, you got that. And Zay Flowers, he came through. Same kind of thing. I don't know why Pirtle had traded you Zay Flowers and his first for Keenan Allen, Bryce Young, and a 26th third. Doesn't make sense. Jody, you got some good trades this year, I will say that. And that's why you always have a good team, because you make trades and they almost always work out for you. In fact, I can't think of a trade that did not work out for you. So, but that's okay. That's okay. That's how it works. Something I'm just noticing here I would call out. Zay Flowers only has 1 touchdown this entire year. He only had 4 last year and 5 the year before, but only 1 touchdown this entire year? That's crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, so, you got him on your bench as well. So you got some depth. So you're hurting a little bit in your start lineup, but you got some depth. McPherson only got 4 points. That's crazy. I don't know why you knew to sit him. Well, Prater only got 7, but yeah. Okay. Well, that's 32 minutes gone. All right, let's look at. Really, we just have to look at 2 matchups this week for the predictions. So we'll go to our predictions here. Alrighty, we got Rance and Pirtle. This will be a close game here. Gonna be a close game. Pirtle's gonna have McCaffrey back. I wish I could actually look at the matchups here. Is he gonna show me this? No, it's not. So I might have to do this like this. Okay. Tomorrow, this will probably update and show that these right here. League matchups be finalized pending any stat corrections Wednesday, 1 a.m. Okay, well, guess what? It's not Wednesday, it's not 1 a.m. So I'm just going to have to do this old-fashioned way. See who Mahomes plays here. Plays the Chargers, which actually had a good defense against the Eagles. Now, see, the Eagles probably have better offense than the Chiefs at this point. So, but it's a division game, which also makes a difference, I think. Okay, let's see here. McCaffrey, Booty. I don't know if you play Booty. He's been hit or miss. Okay, and we'll look at Rance's team here. Bijan. Okay. I think it's gonna be a close one. Who's Bijan play? Tampa Bay. Well, I'm gonna say this matchup here could be anyone's game. Um, this is cool. I know you could do that. I wasn't trying to do that, but just looking at the teams, I'm gonna lean Pirtle slightly. I know this. I feel like Pirtle has just a slight edge with some of his receivers there, even though they're a bit older. Um, but Rance could certainly win this, so I'm gonna say Pirtle's gonna win this week, and then Bryce and Kelly. I don't have to look too hard. I think Bryce has the upper hand this week on that one. Just his receivers, I think, are healthier. Is He's got a little more firepower, I think. If I look at his team one more time, I'll do that. Can I change that? No, I can't. Okay. Yeah, because Bryce has JSN, Amon-Ra, Puka. So he's got like 3 of the top receivers. I mean, that's just crazy. If London comes back, London's been good when he's played. He's got Fannin tight end. He'll probably plug him in over Pitts this week, I would say. Yeah, they play Tampa Bay, so I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, and Kelly, you got Rice and AJ Brown, which are decent. Yeah, I just think Bryce is gonna get that one. Sorry, Kelly. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens though. I could definitely be wrong. All right, looking at the redraft, we'll try to run through this a little quicker as well because I've already been going for 37 minutes. I knew this would be a bit longer of a episode though, since we are looking at the playoffs. The next two, only 2 episodes, will probably be a bit shorter because there'll be less to review and less to predict. So, and then I'll decide if I want to do any other shows outside of our league. I might create some content around different strategies and things that I think could be useful for people in general. Maybe not just us, but people in general. So, all right, we'll start with the activity here with the redraft. So look at the waivers here and see if anything stands out. And the answer is, the only thing that stands out to me is I picked up Blake Corum. So, Drew dropped Tootin, which I think I picked him up afterwards. Yeah, I have so many leagues I had to remember. If ETN goes down, that's what I'm thinking there. Anything else to talk about? Kelly dropped Sean Tucker there, which is maybe interesting. Picked up Higgins. I don't know how Higgins even did this week. How did Higgins do this week? He did not do good. Yeah. Let's see here. Jody picked up Bam Knight. I don't know why he was sitting out there. Well, he only got 4 points. They play Houston this week, so yeah. Doesn't really matter for Jody though because he is not. Oh, I meant to look at the playoffs. Let me look at the playoffs first. All right. So, looking at the playoffs, it was a close standings this year. If I go back to the league here and go to the standings, I mean overall everyone was pretty close except for Jody, ironically enough. But we had going into the final week, pretty much 8 teams that could have made the playoffs potentially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 8 teams that could have made the playoffs. Some of us were already kind of locked in there, the 9 and 5s, but the 8 and 6s as well. But the 7 and 7s, and 6, 8, which was Brent. So there was a a lot of close matches this year, which is what you want to see there. What you want to see. You just, I guess, kind of looking back, and I probably should know this with the Dynasty League, but it does show the highest points for was Bryce at 1,690, so that's pretty good. But you'll see Pirtle had 1,662, Rant 1,627, Drew's 1,625. So his other teams was 1,600. Myself and Brent almost had 1,600 as well. So a lot of teams with a lot of points this year. And the points against, Jody had the most points against. So even if Jody had a really strong team, he probably still would have, with just being unlucky this year, probably would still not have made playoffs. Let me mute my mic here. All right, let's tickle my throat. I'll be glad when it's over. All right, got a little more orange juice. Orange juice may be making this worse. I'm not sure, but yeah. So I mean, it's an overall very close race here. If I didn't lose this week, I was in the running to get one of the playoff spots, not the playoff spots, the what you call it, the bye. Sorry, my brain is going bleh right now. The bye. But now I look at this, I didn't have the points for, because I would have probably tied Rants. Yeah, I would have tied Rants as far as that. So I think no matter what I did this week, I didn't lose my bye because Rants has more points for by about 50 or 40, 45. Yeah. So, but yeah, looking at just the playoff bracket here. If I can click the button. There we go. So Pirtle and Rance enjoy a bye week in the redraft, so congratulations there. I face Kelly, and then Bryce faces Drew. So some good matchups there. Looks like it's projected points. They're already kind of close. Kelly's favored by 5, and Drew's favored by 2. So we'll see what happens in a few days. Thursday. Couple days we'll start the week. All right, so yeah, just looking at the matchups this week. Or sorry, I need to look at the finish looking at the activity. Okay, there's another activity. Okay, I was done with that, I guess. All right, so we'll look at the matchups. So I got demolished this week. Drew beat me pretty good and dropped me to 8-6. Yeah, so I don't beat that horse here, but I would have been 9-5. Yeah, so that wouldn't matter. But yeah, Drew beat me pretty good, 133-83. I think Drew had the highest score this week. Oh nope, Rance had the highest score by 0.3 points. So, but basically, I faced the highest scoring team this week. Second highest scoring, just by a smidge, but still. My team just did not get it done this week. On the bench, I do have Blake Corum, which would have helped me a bunch, and Woody Marks, and Hampton, all of them in the green. So they all would have helped me. I don't know if I would have helped me enough, but they could have certainly got me much closer. So I don't want to do the math there. I'm going to say there's not much I could have done there, but, maybe there was. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, ETN did great for me this week, but other than that, everyone else was in red. He's the only one that was in green. Dak was barely in the red. He should have probably been a tan. He got 19 points, which isn't terrible. You would think that you get more, but that's okay. That's okay. That's what it is. He did have 2 interceptions and a fumble, which was negative 5 points. So, but Drew, did good this week. Matthew Stafford, Devin Neal, he got 14.9 points. That was a good pickup for you there, buddy. And Christian Watson did great for you this week. Zay Flowers, Alec Pierce did okay, and then Miami defense. You had some good plays there on the bench. Nothing too much to talk about, I don't think so. you have Christian McCaffrey on the bench. Never mind. That is something to talk about. So that's gonna be that's gonna be let's see here. Yeah, I'm trying to see who you click the right button here. Okay, you play Bryce and then Rance. So I don't have to face Christian McCaffrey hopefully until the championship. I'll make it that far. I don't know if I will or not. We'll see what happens. But yeah, move on to the next matchup. Jody and Rance. Rance won, had the highest score this week. What we just talked about. Jody just didn't get it done this year in redraft, but that's okay. That's probably not his fault. He just got a bit unlucky on a few things. So Jody can't win them all though. He does pretty much win everything. He'll probably win or get close to winning Dynasty, so that'd be hopefully good enough for you there, Jody. Yeah, so I mean Jody's team just didn't get this year. Rance's team, Josh Allen carried you hard this week. Brian Thomas is in the green, Jamo Williams, Kyle Pitts, Vidal, and then the Denver defense. So, I mean, you had a good performance there overall. Pretty much no red. A little red from Bijan, which I don't think is anything to worry about. He played the Seahawks, which is the number 1 defense. So he gets Tampa Bay this week. So should hopefully be a better game for him there for you. And then Junkins didn't get it done this week. He had the carries and the activity, just didn't get it done. So on bye, you got Diggs. Yeah, I mean, not much you can do there. Diggs isn't very. You got Marvin Harrison on the bench. I don't know if he comes back. If he does, you probably want to play him. I just don't know if he's going to come back and be able to overtake Michael Wilson. So, looking at Isaac and Bryce. Isaac's team only got 48 points. That's unfortunate there, buddy. It happens, so it's not your fault. Mahomes did bad, Genty did bad, Brees Hall did bad. All those you would expect to do good. I understand. Those are good names. Good names to have on your team. A.J. Brown was in the green, barely, but he was in the green. Worthy was in the red. You got Barrington Wright. Brock Wright. Why always say Barrington Wright? I don't know where that came from. Brock Wright, which is on IR, so you didn't even change him out. So that's probably why you got 48 points. Trying to let Bryce win, which did affect a little bit because if Bryce did not win, if I can go with the right button. There we go. I want to scroll down anyways. If Bryce did not win 7-7, he would have been 6-8. So that means Seegers would have got in instead of Bryce. Yeah, because Seegers lost and was still 7-7. So Bryce would have been 6-8. And that would have made Isaac, 6-9, which still wouldn't have, or is that 6-8? Sorry, 6-8. So, but yeah, so it wouldn't have made a difference there. So Isaac, by you sitting your players, basically, you let Bryce have a chance, and he took advantage of it, of getting into the playoffs when Seegers could have had it maybe. Now Bryce did have the highest points for, so he certainly deserves to be in the playoffs. But just letting you know that you should set your lineup, Isaac. It wouldn't have made a difference in this case, right? Because Bryce would have won anyways. So, Seegers, you didn't lose out anything by Isaac not playing a tight end. But if it was a close matchup, that could have been a different story. So, and then, so for Bryce's team, you got Kyron that carried you a bit. Saquon actually did good for once. We'll see if he continues that. Kind of hope so, because I'm in 2 leagues. Going to get into the part of the year where you got to thread the needle on someone scores just enough points, but not too much, to get you a win in one league and not a loss in another. Puka did great for you. Now, he did play Arizona, so I mean, they're not the best defense. Jason did great for you. I think you just drafted your dynasty team. Kelsey did not do good. Monangai did not do good. Warren is probably not playable going forward without a quarterback. And you got the Seahawks defense, which has been pretty decent for you. You're flexing Warren, so... And Kelsey? No, that's Warren. Sorry, I looked at the wrong. You're flexing Warren. So you do have, like, Jordan Mason you can plug in there, or maybe Keenan Allen. You can probably plug one of those two in there. You did pick up Tyler Shuck. He got 21 points. Not terrible. He's on your bench, but... All right. Moving on to Pirtle and Seegers. Pirtle won 115 to Seegers 75. So, not really a close matchup there. We got Sam Darnold. That did good for you, Pirtle. Jalen Waddle did decent. T. Higgins did good. Again, I think T. Higgins is going to have a week off. Now, Pearl, you are lucky again. I'm not crazy. In the other league, Jody has Higgins and will have the week off. And this league year's like that. So, yeah, but he did good for you this week. Jalen Warren was in the green as well. So, some good performances overall. And then Seegers needed to win this week to get in. But yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So hopefully, Seegers, you still love us and you'll come back next year and play with us and see if you can win. I had some unfortunate luck with Jaden Daniels this week. As I said, it looked like he played 75% of the snaps. So, I mean, I don't know if he played 100% of the snaps. I don't know if that made much of a difference on the score there. Achan did good for you this year. CeeDee Lamb got hurt again, which is unfortunate because he only played how much percentage? He only played about half the game, 46% snaps. So basically, you could have doubled that to 30 points. Now you still would have lost. We can only put you at 90. So, but yeah, DK Metcalf did decent for you as well, but just too many hits or misses there. Now you have Michael Wilson on the bench, which, again, I don't think there's anything you could have done there for that. Because you could play Michael Wilson, you got 30 more points, and then you got... well, actually, I think if you had correctly played Michael Wilson, which I wouldn't have done that either, so I'm with you on that. I would have played... I would have done pretty much exactly what you did. So, yeah, I would have. So... It sounds yucky to play Michael Wilson, so don't beat yourself up too bad over that. But if you'd have played him, and then also if CeeDee Lamb had done good, but you played him, and then we didn't have a quarterback. 30 points, so you should need 10 points somewhere. Kenneth Gainwell, maybe. Oh man, yeah, you would have been close. Been close. I don't know if I don't have the exact math. You may have just won by the skin of your teeth. But yeah, but Pirtle moves on to the playoffs. So good luck for you there, Pirtle. So looking at your bench, Caleb Williams there did okay, and Pittman. Pittman's kind of gonna fall off though because of the loss of their quarterback. And then you got Kittle there on the bench, which is not a bad person to have there over Waller, most likely. Yeah, I mean, it's just a no-brainer there, so that'll help you, hopefully, to the playoffs. Oh, man, let me on in now. All right, let's go ahead through this last matchup and do our predictions, and then we'll look at the Dynasty Daddy playoff calculator thing. So looking at Brent and Kelly. Kelly won barely. This is a close game, and this actually may be the game for the last person in almost. 8-6, so you'd been 7-7. Which you would have lost to Bryce there, so Bryce would move to 5. but then you would have been 7-7. And then you would have beat out Kelly for points for. Yeah, so I think if I'm looking at that right, Brent, if you had one more point, if you had won this, you would be in the playoffs, and Kelly would not. If I'm looking at that right, just how close everything was. I could be looking at that wrong, but yeah, that made you 7-7 with 1,477 points. So you've been tied. It's been like a four-way tie, 7-7, pretty much. So it should be points for, which would then be Bryce and Brent. Those are the two highest points for. So that would have kicked out Kelly. So, man, Brent, that sucks. I don't know if you've done the math there yet on that. But if I'm looking at that right, that's correct. So you were so close, but yet so far away to that. You know, looking at your bench, though, you had bye weeks, which sucks. Bad time for that. You had Henderson and Dowdle on bye, and McMillan. Those are three players that you would want to have in. Dobbs was out, pretty much. You got your Goose, so nothing you could have done there. Robinson was out. Henry. Man, it was a bad week to have a bye week for that many players. Man. That stinks for you, buddy. Yeah, Mooney just didn't get it done. Bailey didn't get it done. I mean, there's not much you could do. Probably not a lot of stuff on the waiver wire at this point in the year to plug and play. Always what you would know. There's probably some players that popped off that you could have had, but you didn't know that was going to happen until until they played, right? All right, so wow. Better luck next year. I mean, like I said, you did great, Brent. You know, I did drop Trey Henderson like an idiot, and so I dropped him, and you picked him up, and he's done decent since you picked him up. So, kind of hit or miss, but still, like he's done decent. Week 9, 10, week 10 points, week 10, 27 points, week 11, 29 points. I mean, he's had some good weeks. And he's been going into the home stretch here, so we'll see what happens with him and Stevenson. But, yeah. But, Kelly, you did get in the playoffs, so look at your team as well. You got R.J. Harvey there, did decent. So your strategy of drafting all the same team, which is the Broncos, and I think you had multiple other teams too. Maybe Browns. Am I seeing Browns? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, he's the Broncos. Yeah. Now you didn't play Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is kind of curious. I'm assuming you just thought he wasn't healthy, but I'm surprised he was, and he did okay on your bench. Not what you projected to do, but still 12 points isn't terrible. But, your team, the Greens, again, R.J. Harvey, and then Nico Collins, Harold Fannin. So, oh, man, what a close matchup. Okay, well, let's look at the Week 15 here. And we'll see. So, myself and Kelly, and then Bryce and Drew. Let's see here. I think I'm favored. Barely. Yeah, I'm gonna be favored there. I can click on the teams. Oh, that is nice. That was an accident because I was just trying to hit the points for. Okay, this makes things easier. All right, let's see here. I wish I could get back Drake London this week. I don't think I'm going to though. But that would certainly help me. Against Tampa Bay. That'd be great. But we'll see what happens. So I got Chase. Man, Ibuka's just not... I don't know what to do with him. I feel like I gotta play him. Because when I bench him, he's gonna have a good game. So yeah, but yeah, I think Chase Pickens is decent. Ferguson, Dak plays against Minnesota this week. That should be a good game for him. So let's look at Kelly here. You got Nico, Sutton, James Cook, which I think will be decent this week as well. Amon-Ra, which should be decent this week. He plays against the Rams, so we'll see what happens there. Just looking at the teams here, got a couple there. Man, if I could get London back at full capacity, I've got Hampton on the bench too, actually, which I think makes a difference. Yeah, I'm gonna go with my team winning this week. I really don't know though. It's really a hard thing to guess, but I'll say my team against Kelly, and then Bryce and Drew. So let's look at their teams. Let's see here. Man, if the Eagles don't figure out something, with Jalen Hurts, I don't know if you can play. That's the worst game he's ever had, though. Negative points. I don't know if he's ever had a negative point game. He's still the QB6, though. So I think you play him this week. It was just an off night for him. So they're not gonna play him. They play Las Vegas, so I think this would be a get right game for Hurts, which will help you out there, Bryce. You got Puka, JSN, Saquon, which could do good. Connor Williams, Kelsey, hit or miss there. Manungai's indecent. Tyler Warren. So you need to fill in at least Tyler Warren. Do you have him on your bench here? You got Keenan Allen. And Jordan Mason maybe as well. But yeah. You don't have that last wide receiver or flex spot kind of short up, but overall, I think you have a good team there, Bryce. And then let's look at Drew's team. Now, again, Drew is higher standings, but Bryce did have the most points for by a bit against Drew. So, I mean, it wasn't just like a point or two. It's several points. So, I mean, it's 65 points. So, it's a good amount. So looking at Drew's team, you get Christian McCaffrey this week, so he could certainly just carry you all the way through. Watson's too much of hit or miss. McBride would be decent there. Say Flowers too hit or miss. Okay, I'm gotta say Bryce. I'm gonna give the better. Bryce has the better team, so that's my guess for this week. The redraft. Okay, we are just over an hour, so I'm sorry again for the longer episode. Again, I knew this would be a longer episode, so not as long as I thought it would be, though. All right, so let's look at the dynasty here, looking at the predictions. Basically, we're just going to look at who the predictions for the winners at this point. So it's saying that I have the highest chance to win the finals right now at 39%. And then Jody, second highest at 23%. Bryce at 14. Kelly at 11. Rance at 8. And then Pirtle at 5. So these numbers are going to go up a bunch after this week. Now me and Jody have our buys, so that makes it where we have a higher percentage because we don't have to play this week. So I think that skews our numbers a bit. So then look at the redraft here and see what that says there. Alrighty. Redraft. Pirtle and Rance are the highest. Pirtle's at 38%, Rance 28%. And then Bryce 17%, Drew 11%, Kelly 7%, and myself 6%. So I have the lowest percent chance right now. So yeah, I mean, this is what it is. We'll see if I can get a miracle. I gotta win this week, so 1 week at a time, which I certainly could lose. This is the playoffs, but But yeah, I think that concludes our episode for this week. So thanks for listening. We'll look at next week. Just do a recap of the playoffs, of course. If there's any activity, I'll also talk about that a little bit. But hope everyone has a great night, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks again for listening.